Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you today, this Friday afternoon, Friday evening. My name is Jonan Kandwanaho, and I'm the team leader at Jonaki Holdings Limited. And at Jonaki Holdings Limited, we offer financial relief, we give credit, we give financial support. So where banks say no, or where financial institutions say no, or they take long, we give you money in a very short time. And that's what we do. We support businesses, help them scale up, help them grow. And you can always check us out at www.jonakiholdings.com. Yes, and I'm blessed, I'm privileged to be a team leader at Jonaki. It's a pleasure to have you guys. Jeff, it's a pleasure to have you today. Yeah, and all these talks that we do, as I usually say, iron sharpens iron. So these talks that I do, we get to put them on my YouTube channel, Jonan Kandwanaho, and you can always subscribe. You can always like that channel. Click on that bell, it's free of charge, so that when a video is posted, then you can actually get notified, and then you can actually watch it in your comfort zone, in your free time, and then learn one or two things. And as I've already said, if you learn one or two things and you don't implement and you don't take action, you'll have wasted your data, you'll have wasted your time, and so will you have wasted my data and my time as well. So it's a pleasure to have you. Ronald, I can see you're here. You're in class. Ronald Nimsima, it's a pleasure to have you today. Yeah, so let me get at it. Usually we come here to talk business, and all my talks have been around business. For those starting, for those growing, scaling up, for those applying, franchising, growing branches, I've actually talked through a number of topics, and I've got feedback from a number of people telling me that they've been very helpful. Especially, they can only get helpful if you actually implement. So if you don't, you might really find these talks helpful because you've not implemented, so you cannot have the results that the implementer or the person who implements actually realizes. So it's important that after learning one or two or three things, implement. Great. So today's talk is about the essence of masterminds. The essence of masterminds. And I usually talk about things concerning business. Of late, I've been talking about money lending, specifically focused on money lending, which Jonaki Holdings Limited does. But now some of the talks talk about any other area. So long as you're a business person, you do business, they still can help. So today I'm talking about the essence of masterminds. So masterminds basically is a group of 3 to 5 people, 3 to 5 or 10 that come together to discuss, to talk through a number of topics, through a number of ventures, to discuss, sharpen one another, highlight their challenges. In business, it is lonely, especially if you've grown a bit. Up there, it's a little lonely. Like when you have a challenge, it becomes very hard if you don't have anyone to share it with. If you have a problem, it becomes a challenge to have someone to share it with. If you have a business turned upside down, you have to have somewhere where to run to, where to pick someone's mind. And that's what happens in mastermind. So as a business person, if you come across a mastermind that relates to your business, it's important that you take it on with your head and your toes and your legs and your hands. Why? Because you need to learn. If you have to grow, you have to learn. As a matter of fact, before you started that business, you must have learned it from someone. You must have got guidance from someone who pushed you. So I want to take you through why it's important to have a mastermind, participate in a mastermind. And one of the key things that you need to take serious is to join a mastermind of the business that you're running. First, it helps you highlight your challenges, your problems, share it with another party who is doing a similar business. That's point number 1. Point number 2, it helps you, especially if you pay. See, some of the masterminds, or most of the masterminds that are very important, that are very impactful, you actually have to pay for them. They're not free of charge. You have to pick from your wallet and pay for these masterminds. Some of them, they are costed 800,000. But the benefit that you realize from such masterminds is priceless. I'll give an example. I had a mastermind for money lending I participated in, for running a business, there are lots of things that were haywire. I was literally losing a number of money, certain amounts of monies that could even pay for the mastermind, and much more remains. So sometimes the cost that you actually get to meet, the cost that you incur, is not anywhere close to the amount of money that you actually pay for masterminds. There's a deal that looked very open, very straightforward, of about 70 million Uganda shillings that I shouldn't have taken on, but because I didn't have a space where to share what I was learning, where to share, so how to take on some of the decisions, I took a very tough one. It was in a fraudster, and that's how we lost it. So you can imagine what a mastermind would have done for me had I gone through it, and some of the things I came to learn later. So some of the mistakes that we make, especially in our businesses, if you're dealing in money, like money lending, or if you have a microfinance institution, some of the mistakes that we make are very costly. Very costly, not even anywhere close or commensurate to the cost you'd have paid, or the charge you'd have paid for a mastermind. So the instance of payment is not actually to pay for the sake of paying. But one key thing is that you can realize support and you can be held accountable. If you paid for a class, for a mastermind, someone can confidently hold you accountable because you're paying them to hold you accountable. So I want us not to mix different things. A mastermind is very different from having a mentor, from having a coach. A mastermind is that you're doing similar business with this person or these groups of people. You're coming together. Perhaps you have a team leader who actually has gone ahead of you guys. You come together to share your experiences. You come together to share your ups and downs. You come together to share your ideas, to sharpen one another. So it is peer-to-peer, or people who are playing the same industry, which might not be the case with having a mentor, which might not be the case with having a coach. All those different topics I've talked about them. I've talked about the instance of a coach, the instance of having a mentor, but this is specifically a mastermind. I'll give an example. So if you're a lender, if you lend money, if you have a microfinance institutions, if you run a microfinance institution, you should be having a limit based on your portfolio. For example, if you have a portfolio of 1 billion shillings, you should say that, you know what, beyond one loan to a particular individual or a business person should not go beyond a particular amount of money. For example, if I have 1 billion shillings, I have a fraction of the portfolio, maybe 20%, that I say, you know, beyond 20% of my portfolio, I cannot lend it to one person. Now, if you have a mastermind and my portfolio is 30 million, and yours is 100 million, I can confidently know that, you know what, this type of client falls outside my portfolio. So I can actually refer to a colleague. So it's one of the instances of having a mastermind, is that you get to get business. So you could pay for a mastermind of 500,000 or 800,000, and ultimately you can actually get clientele that can actually absorb certain amount of money from your business. I'll give an example. Jonaki Holdings Limited is that we have a limit, a minimum limit, below which we cannot lend. For example, below 200,000, we don't lend any money below 200,000. So if I get a client who wants 150, 200 to the dot, I'll say, you know what, we might not be able to serve you. But here is my colleague who can actually serve you. But how do I come to know about this colleague of mine? It is through a mastermind. Because we are together and we are doing similar business. We are together and we are doing similar business. The other pro, or the other advantage of participating, or the instance of a mastermind, is that it could happen on a weekly. It could happen on a weekly. So we are meeting on a weekly basis. We are meeting to brainstorm on ABCD. So you agree on the schedule. You say every week we are meeting to discuss ABCD. So you sharpen one another. This might not be tied to money lending alone. This could be tied to maybe you guys own boutiques, or perhaps you own shops, or perhaps you have a transport business, you have vehicles. irrespective of the industry you're playing in, it's important that you identify any running mastermind that is playing in your industry, and then you participate in it. It is very, very key, because you get to learn a lot. The other third instance of a mastermind, of participating in a mastermind, is that you could be struggling. Because at Jonaki Holdings Limited, we lend some of the lenders because our rates are lower. So a lender comes, and for him, he lends perhaps at 15%. And for us, we lend at 8%. And you see, you have a client that you have sieved properly, you have a client that you have fully assessed, but you do not have the money to lend them. And you see, it's important to think about others, because all of us have grown through people, have grown through others. I've personally used to borrow from someone. There was a microfinance in Bukoto. I'd pick money cheaply and come and lend it highly. It's probably higher than the rate as borrowing at. So you might not be having all the monies that you need at a particular point. And yet you're doing legit business, yet you have good clientele, yet you're very sure that the clientele will pay back, yet your money is secured. So you shouldn't be suffering in essence. You shouldn't be struggling in essence. So what the masterminds help is that you could be there and you're struggling, and you come to Jonaki Holdings Limited. You're like, you know what, Jonan? I have this client I've assessed. He needs 20 million or 50 million. But I've run short of money. And for me, I lend at maybe 10%. And you as Jonaki, you perhaps lend, as we lend at 8%. So you pick money from us at 8%, and you go and lend at 10%. And you have a difference of 2%. Boss, 2% of 100 million is 2 million. That is money. So you can imagine if you have 10 clients, that's 20 million. That is money. That is business. You'll have helped a client, so the next time he comes, perhaps you'll have grown and you can ably service them. The next time he comes, perhaps you'll have grown and you can ably absorb the loan that they want. And that's how Jonaki Holdings actually grew. We could not even sometimes afford loans of 5 million. So we'd run to this guy, borrow at a particular rate which was way lower than Jonaki's rate, go lend it out at a higher rate, 15%, 12%, and to make a difference. And that's how we have grown. So it's important that as we grow, we also wish that others grow. It's important that as we grow, we also support others to grow. But you see, I'll not come and fish you out in your cocoon. I'll not fish you out in your cave. So you actually have to come out and participate of these masterminds, and that's how we can come to know about what you're doing. That's how we can come to know about what it is that you're doing to the clients, to the people. Because you can imagine, there are people that you actually know, there are people that you can actually serve, there are people that you actually interact with that I might never interact with, that I might never see in my life. But you have contact with them. They could be your relatives, they could be your business partners, they could be your colleagues who are doing businesses. So meaning that just because you know me and I work in Jonaki, or I am a team leader at Jonaki, you can access money from me and go and serve that person whom I wouldn't have served because I don't have access to them. And that is the essence of business. I remember I talked about referral system. That's how referrals work. Because if I cannot serve you, if my limit is 5 million, there's no way I should just let you go because you have a challenge. I need a solution. I need to make sure that you get served somewhere. So if you don't have a network of friends that you're doing business with, if you don't have a network of colleagues that you're doing business with, or you operate in the same industry, you may think that you're competing. You're not competing. For Christ's sake, the clients that Jonaki Holdings serves, you might never come to know about them. You might not even never interact with them. So let's not think selfish. Let's not think, in our cocoons, in our isolated angles, no. Let's think comprehensive. Let's think growth together. Let's think supporting the industry. Let's think supporting the client. Because if you're good and I'm good, we are all good. And we have the strength. I've done a talk on how this money lending or financial money lending actually has had a very terrible name. And you're sitting back. You're playing in the same industry, but you're sitting back. So until we clean this industry, until we participate and come together, until we do what we are meant to be doing, it will come to this money lending business or microfinance business will keep with that bad name. And it still counts on us. It is our responsibility that we take full charge of this industry. We take full charge of these businesses. Because there's no one else who's going to fall from the sky and clean them. There's no one who's going to fall from the sky and make them straight. It is our responsibility. And I've always emphasized it in these talks that we do. So until you step it up, until you step up your goalposts, until you step up your operations, until you step up the way you do things, we shall keep with that bad name. And incidentally, some clients will fall in wrong hands and we still have a bad name. So once we step up our game, once we do right things, that's when the clientele are going to come up and appreciate this industry. That's when they're going to get legit services. But until we come out, we might not sell legit services. And people will continue to fall in fraudsters' hands, in some of the guys who con them of their properties. I've given you 10 million, I want to foreclose a property worth 500 million at 100 million. It's not right. Because Proverbs 13:11 says that dishonest money dwindles away, but whoever gathers money little by little makes it grow. Let's get together, let's work together to make these resources grow little by little, without necessarily fleecing our clients, without necessarily foreclosing their properties, without necessarily having an amicable way of resolving the challenge. Even if a client is hard up, we need to find a way as players in this industry. So I think that's what I can say for now. And one thing I'd like to announce that I'm starting a mastermind. It is starting on 5th November. You can inbox if you want to participate. I'm specifically running this mastermind for people who are playing in the money lending business, who are in microfinance lending. You have a microfinance institution, you have a money lending company, or you intend to start one, because one of the challenges we shall be putting upon the participants that we shall challenge them to go and launch, to go and start those ideas, those money lending ideas they've been having for the last how many years. If you've been operating informally, you need to come over. If you've been, playing hide and seek, you need to come over. Participate in this mastermind, you'll thank me later. So it's launching on 5th of November, 2022. You can inbox and see how you can participate in this mastermind. We shall be having 5 sessions. Each of the sessions shall be taking 1.5 hours, where we shall get to share our experiences, where we shall get to share our pros and cons, where we shall get to share our challenges and polish up one another so that we can ably and comfortably grow together for the betterment of this industry, of our lives, of our communities, and our country. So I really appreciate you guys. I appreciate your time. Thank you for watching through. And I hope that even if you're not playing in the money lending business, you go out there and look out for a mastermind that speaks to the industry you're playing in. If it is paid for, the better. Because what we pay for, we tend to take it serious. What we pay for, we tend to value. So don't look for free things. Don't go running for free things. Go out there. Look out for something paid for, specifically. Pay for it and make sure you maximize the value. Make sure you implement the things that you learned from there, and you'll progress and you'll grow. So I speak a blessing over you. Thanks for watching through. Go out there. May the Lord bless the works of your hands. The God stand with you. May He protect you and your families. May He guard you. May He make you grow to serve your community, your country, and the world. Don't forget, look out for my YouTube channel. Like it, John and Kandono. Click on that button, subscribe. I always look forward to interacting with you, to stepping it up together so that we can all grow together. Because together we can do much more than one individual can actually accomplish. I love you all. Have a blessed Friday and the best of the weekend. God bless you. Thank you and cheers. Bye-bye.